Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Trademark Sports Podcast, episode. I don't even know, too many. But we are now,
Whatever it is.
yeah, we're now what, 3 rounds into probably the most interesting rugby league season of all time, well, at least that I've watched. Crazy results happening
Of
left,
the
right,
NRL
center.
era.
Righto. So basically, what we're going to do today is just talk bulk shit about the round that was and footy in general. And we're going to start off with, well, so first of all, Dano, how are you? Obviously, not great result for the Knights, but that's life.
No, not a great result for the Knights, but sadly that's something I've gotten used to. Um, yeah, I'm still wearing my jersey. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just used to mediocrity and disappointment at this stage. So it is what it is. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever.
I love how we've decided on a week that our teams both got embarrassed to wear our team's kit. But anyway,
I didn't
that's
get it because you were doing it.
well. Let's just say, look, mate, we can't be accused of being fake fans because we stick through our team through the absolute rotting that we are at the moment. So
I've fucking clubbed through 3 wooden spoons
yeah,
in a row.
looks like my club. I don't know that if we play like that last 10 minutes, we're in danger. Anyway, we're gonna get to we're gonna just have a little bit of fun for a second. Cause I was sitting there watching I think it was like Junior Paulo running off the kickoff, and I was like, just imagine having to tackle that. And then I was sitting there thinking, like, who do you reckon's the biggest player like you'd be able to tackle? So, what do you reckon, Dano? You've got like one-on-one tackle to stop a try. Who's the biggest player you're backing yourself against?
All right, so I've put some thought into this. So one of those real big, wide blokes, like your Junior Paulos and your Josh Papalis, and that, I think you got no chance because when you hit them, like
Just
you hit
bumpers.
them low,
That's it.
you bounce off them. You hit them midsection, you're bumping off them. Up high, like forget about it. So then, but you think, could you tackle like one of those rangy blokes, but a big, like wide runner front rower, back rower? I think you got no chance either
Mm.
because they're coming in on those hectic lines. And they're just knees and elbows and speed
Yeah.
and muscles. You got no chance at that either. So I'm thinking, I've come to the conclusion, David Clemmer. Nothing against him. He's a big bloke, but he runs pretty straight up and down. He runs nice and upright. I think I'd have a chance getting up under the ball, and I reckon I could tackle him. That's my opinion.
That's like I think I was thinking the same thing as like look these big boppers. That's just like I got no hope. Like Jason Tomalola running at me, I'm probably just gonna let the
Yeah,
bloke go past. Like
not as
that's ridiculous. I feel so sorry. Like imagine
us,
you were on
us
an
all Wayne
edge.
Egan. Yeah.
Yeah, like exactly. I
Look,
would end up like Wade Egan. So I'm thinking,
mm.
it's like, look, I don't want to be tackling like the big boppers. Like even David Clemmer, if he's running full steam at me, there will be Brown running down my like the back of my leg. So I'm thinking,
Yep.
I want someone who's not too physically imposing, but also not someone who's then going to be able to just step around me and just be an agile freak. So I was thinking, like, something like Dane Laurie is tiny, but he's just going to run around me. Like it's to make me
Yep.
look silly. So I'm thinking this just shows the level of mediocrity. And this is no offense to this bloke as well. He's got probably the best first name getting around. Tyson Gamble is the bloke I'm going to take. I reckon
Oh.
he's not he's not too fast. He's not too agile. He's not too big. I reckon just be able to just go hit him at the waist.
Yeah.
Happy with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Oh, when I before he was at the Knights, I would have loved to tackle him. I used to hate him. I hated his guts, but now I like him.
That's the best thing about him though. Like that spray that he
Yeah,
gave the Tigers the other week was so
the
funny.
Doogie. Yeah,
Oh, so good.
he's just. And while we're on the topic, I just wanted to bring up the fact that if anyone from the Fig Tree Crushers is watching this, whichever one of you it was that hit me, that is the hardest I've ever been hit in my life. On Friday night, I played a trial game. It was a mixed reserve grade and third grade trial against the Fig Tree Crushers, right? We played two 30-minute halves. I'd played the whole first 30 at lock and the first 20 of the second half. And I was coming off at right at the end, 10 minutes to go, the water running goes, don't know, come off. I go, just give me one hit up and I'll come.
Oh, yep.
I've got another hit up, right? It's the center has jumped into hooker. I think the hooker had taken a scoot, right? So I'm ready for it off the deck. I'm thinking, yeah, get a good run, quick play the ball, come off. The center's picked up the ball, taken a few steps and stopped. It's just thrown me off. I've caught the ball. And as I've looked up, the center, I think it was, is coming out from the center. he must have been fully sprinting way before I got the ball. I looked up and instantly, as soon as I caught the ball, his head collided with my neck.
Oh,
bang! That is the hardest I've ever been hit in my life on or off the footy field. My ears started ringing. My throat is
no.
sore. My jaw is sore. I just whoever it is, good on you, because I've literally never been hit that hard in my life. I feel like I got hit by a car. So
whoever Fig Tree Crusher said, "I reach out." But like how when you get like smacked in a game and then your jaw just hurts after it, like you go to, like take a bite out of a sandwich or wrist off saying out down at Michael Cronin Oval, get around it. And you go you take a bite of it and your jaw just like pops. Like, oh,
like,
so
and
shit.
Like inside.
Yeah.
Oh, and after that football game, shout out to the Fig Tree Crushers. That is the sorest I've been in a long time. Both my legs had corks in all of them. My lower back was sore. My calves were tight. My jaw was killing me because I head clashed with one of their boys, split him above the eyebrow, and I got a little cut on my cheekbone. That was one of the toughest games of footy I've ever played.
And surely they're just a pub comp team as well. Like, I suppose you get some good players in pub comp,
Yeah.
but especially like the level of footy down the South Coast.
It's Illawarra comp, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Group Illawarra comp, which is a bit stronger. So they would do well in a reserve grade comp in Group 7. They were
fair enough.
Very good football side.
Right, we'll give them their flowers then. Fig Tree Crushers, premiership favourites for Illawarra pub comp. No idea what I was playing.
Good on you.
So
bit of a data.
Going from some average pub comp players, you have your dribblers to back to the NRL. Let's get on to some talking points from this week, and something from like last night's game that's come up because he probably had one of his poorer games in Tigers colours, just saying something because the Tigers are just let's stop actually we'll stop bashing the Tigers for 1 week maybe.
Relegate them.
And
they would get beaten by the Fig Tree Crushers.
But yeah, Adam Dewey, he's like they're 5'8". Honestly, Luke Brooks outplayed him by a long mile yesterday. Luke Brooks actually showed some glimpses of being quite a good player. But in that team, they got some pretty bad outside backs. Do you reckon Adam Dewey's best position is 5'8", or like should you chuck Brendan Wakeham there, and then play Dewey in the centres, or like what do you reckon the go is? Because you can't play him at fullback because Dane Laurie is probably one of their better players they've got. So what do you reckon?
Well, at this point, I know it's only early in the season, but they just look dreadful. Try anything. Like, let's be honest. They're not in any way, shape, or form going to get close to the top 8 or finals 40, I don't think. I know it's only 3 rounds in, but they just don't look on the same pace. I think, move him. Put him in centre, move some positions around, bring some young blokes up. You know what I mean? Like, just... they got to do something because obviously whatever they are doing is not working.
Like I 100% agree. And you have a look at like Adam Dewey, he gives you a bit of strike power out in the centres. Like Brent Naden had a decent game yesterday. He's been playing okay footy. You get Brent Naden and Adam Dewey in your centres while Tommy Talau's out at least. It just gives you a bit more strike. He's pretty good defensively, so that shores up that a little bit. But again, you look at decisions they made in the offseason and having Jackson Hastings or Jock Madden there right now would be pretty handy. Like, no offense to Brendan Wakeham, but you're probably picking both those players over him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'd be very nice to have a player the caliber of Jackson Hastings. And that's a bloke who wanted to be there, which is pretty rare for a team that's going the way they are. Like, he said, I want to be there. I want to make a difference to this team. And for some reason, they didn't want him, which is a shame and which I can't understand. Off-season recruitment's weird. The way they're coached is weird. The way they play is shit. I'm not an NRL coach. Probably never will be. So who's to say? I don't know anything. But from a viewer's perspective, they just look like a bunch of hopeless cases. So they just don't know what they're doing. Try something.
I don't know. In my opinion, like... there's a saying that the fish stinks from the head, and it doesn't matter what you change on the playing field and in the staff room. If you don't change the backroom staff and the board, then it's still going to be shit working conditions for the coaches and the players, and they're not going to want to play. And like I think that's the way it is. I think there needs to be backroom staff turnover, and that's when you start to see some change.
They've had so much turnover with players and coaches, and this is working, and obviously nothing's working. The only thing that stayed constant through their 10 years of mediocrity and shithousery has been the board. So the board, in my opinion, must go. Whether that's face a firing squad or have a reduced role, it's up to others to decide. But
it's the same as like the Dragons to an extent, though. It's like I don't think doesn't matter what the playing group is. If the board don't get along and hate each other, like it just filters through.
is it the joint venture thing? Do you think?
That was another thing I was going to say. I don't think joint ventures work at all, but Dragons aren't really a joint venture anymore though because Win own half the club.
Yeah, I suppose. But what do you mean by that? Expand on that for me, please.
So I don't know the exact way that the Dragons are run, but it is different to the Tigers. So the Tigers board is 50-50 down the middle, Wests and Balmain.
Okay.
Representatives from both clubs. And then the Dragons, I believe, say there's 12 seats on the board. Pretty sure 6 are St. George, 4 are Win Corporation, and 2 are the Steelers, I think. Or it's 4 Steelers, 2 are Win, something like that. But like it's a mess. And you think
I can't understand that when the bulk of your juniors come from the Steelers, or your development comes from the Steelers, and I reckon most of their fans had come from the Illawarra area.
It's just because all the money comes through St. George and that league's club there.
Yeah, it's good to have one thing. They've been talking about for years how the Tigers have been financially successful, but it still doesn't create good football. Like, if you watch a junior game, Harold Matts or an SG Ball, Steelers versus St. George, it's a flogging every time. The Steelers flog them.
You say that. St. George did beat them this year.
Oh, well, sorry. That's just my experience from early.
But yeah, like history shows that like
watching blokes our age who come through the grades, they always shit all over the Steelers.
Like the blokes that were your age coming through, they won the bloody damn thing. So like there's like definitely a lot of talent in the Illawarra region. And like that's the thing though, if you look at the St. George team now, most of those players in the SG Ball team have been brought in from like Queensland and other places. Like they're not actually developed from the area.
Yeah.
So it's like whether those players are going to have the same passion as the guys that have grown up playing for them, that sort of thing. But I don't know, like if you look at the Dragons board, especially if you've got 3 different opinions on everything, it sort of just makes it hard, and that people are going to be unhappy no matter what, and that filters through to then the people that they know like further down the line. And then same with the Tigers. You got like Balmain now as well. It's not very rugby league suburb anymore.
What do they do in Balmain?
Who knows?
Is it a nice area, Balmain? Yeah. What do they do? Just drink lattes and freaking.
Honestly, I can't say I've actually been there, but
zebra crossings, rainbow. Whatever they do. Suburbs.
From what I know, it's a bit more of the upper class, like upper middle class. I think now where Western Suburbs is still the hard yakka, like Bleeds rugby league kind of place. I don't know. It just there's definitely issues at the Tigers that me or you are not going to solve in a Monday afternoon podcast. So,
well, if they would just listen, maybe they would.
But that is the thing, though. Like every single person seems to agree. So why aren't they doing it? I suppose it's just jobs for the boys, and that's I think the issue as well at the Tigers.
Well, I think the board really they're financially successful, which I've talked about every year. They're like, we made this much money this year, so they don't give a shit. They're making money for the club. Like, it's just, they just don't care. They don't care about the football, which is what should be the heart and soul of the club, which makes me sad for Tigers fans.
And what sucks as well, like you said, the first 2 rounds at Leichhardt, it's full to the brim. Like those supporters will turn up no matter how bad their club is going. And maybe that's something that, like, as much as the Tigers fans want to see the team go out and play, maybe that's something they got to do. Boycott the games and take a stand. And maybe that's kind of thing because the fans make the club. Without the fans, they're not making the money. All right, another topic from last weekend's rugby league. Your mate, Jacko Hastings, he copped probably the most on-time late hit I've ever seen in my life. And then the perpetrator, Felice Kafusi, has copped 3 weeks for it. Game's gone soft.
Well, we've been saying it for years. The game has gone soft. Finn Diesel was hard done by.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, surely he gets off with this challenge.
Well...
At least gets it reduced, maybe a week.
You'd like to think. Well, I've heard. So at the moment he's facing a 3-week suspension with an early guilty plea, but he plans to challenge it. I've heard. So if he does challenge it and he's unsuccessful, it'll be taken up to a 4-week suspension. If he is successful, it'll be reduced to a fine. But 3 weeks for that is it's
I reckon
ridiculous.
that's soft as, and like I reckon another reason why we'll get off this week, for it is because this weekend they've got the Broncos, which we get on to talk about later. But it's like you want the best players playing in the the top of the table clash.
Yeah, they always say
And
that. Do the tribunal care about that?
yes, because at the end of the day, their wage is getting paid by the NRL, like the NRL, who'll make the most money if the best players are playing. Like, unfortunately, money makes the world go round, especially NRL. With like
Yes.
Volandis is very money and success driven, which is good for the game
Oh,
for
so
the
you
most part.
see what Volandis has done for the game. Obviously, it's good for the game.
But like, for example, if Taylor May was getting off on suspension for the fans last year, why is Kafusi not? Everyone's
Exactly.
getting around the fins up. So yeah, I don't know. And I think I'm pretty sure I can't remember exactly who it was now, but I swear there was a worse one in the Cowboys game that a Cowboys player put a hit in the Warriors play, something like that. Like you have to let me know in the comments. But um the player walked away with a fine. So Felice Kafusi can like just walk in and go, bruh, this bloke's hit was 2 seconds later than mine and he got a fine.
You reckon that's how he'll address him? Bruh.
Yeah. He'll walk in and go, listen, bruh, watch this shit right now.
Mhm.
I hit him zero point 0.4 of a second after he passed it. He hit the dog bloody 2.5 seconds after. So let me go. Cheers.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that is probably his best legal course of action. As you know, in legal matters, that is the best way to just address the tribunal, the judge, or whatever, just as bruh.
Don't even rock up in nice clothes. Just rock up in footy shorts and thongs and go, all right, bruh, let's get this over and done with. And I'm
All right,
sure he'll
brother.
get
That
off.
always works. That always works.
Yeah.
It's when I went to court to get my driver's license back many years ago, and I saw
Dark days.
people in there on a Wednesday morning, and they're in there in a hoodie and a pair of thongs. I was in there in a button up, and I all nervous trying to get my P plates back.
Yeah.
Seen these blokes in here in their, their snapbacks and their sunnies and thongs, and I was like, these blokes, that's what I'm doing wrong. I should have worn
Yeah.
thongs, and I'd definitely get me license back. These blokes, what it's all about.
Looked out
Obviously,
of place.
regular.
Like
Yeah,
you just present yourself well, like, bruh. Again, bruh, you're sweet. Here's your license back. Just don't do it again.
100%. I did
Um,
get it back as well, by the way.
yeah, mate. We don't take no L's here.
Listeners' name.
So we will talk about the Brisbane rivalry quickly. So, had you have said a month ago that come to round 4, Friday night, Broncos versus Dolphins would be a 1 versus 2 clash, I would have laughed at you in your face and called you the biggest idiot. But here we are. Here we are.
I would have called you a dirty, lying scoundrel and never spoken to you again if you had said
Exactly.
such nonsense to me.
If you had left that comment on the old TikTok, you would have been blocked.
Blocked, banned, come to your house, burn your house down. But yeah, this is a crazy rugby league season. Anything can happen and has happened, and it's awesome. I'm here for it. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I unfortunately think it might be the fins might be down and a little bit deflated, and there'll be no blood in the fin this weekend. But I really hope they win. It'd be so good. See, just the Dolphins. Let's just get them undefeated all year. Let's have the Dolphins win the comp.
I am backing the Dolphins to win this game.
You reckon?
Full of confidence. Yeah, I reckon Wayne Bennett just gets in there. He just does his magic. He says something to him before the game in the sheds. He's sitting there, and I don't know what he's going to say, but he's just going to say these magic words, and the players are going to literally want to run through brick walls out there, and they will come out with that much heart and passion, and they would just play for each other, play for the coach, and they're playing for the little guy, aren't they? They're the underdogs.
That's it. What like
the little brothers, and they're going to come out there, and I reckon they'll just beat them.
one thing I want to say though, it's like I find it funny that when the Dolphins came in, it was no, we're dropping the red cliff like it's a new entity, it's this and that, rah. And then all of a sudden, round 4's top table clash. It's the Brisbane rivalry. Well, no, hang on. If it's Brisbane rivalry, why aren't we calling them Redcliffe?
It's stupid that they're just names. The Brisbane Dolphins, the River City Dolphins, the Moreton Bay Dolphins, the Redcliffe Dolphins. You could, there's a million different names you could call them. Give them a place. It just sounds stupid.
It does, but you got these fans at like the first game up at Suncorp and then as well as KO Stadium chanting Redcliffe.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
they're not going Dolphins. They got like Redcliffe. So it's like that's the identity of the club, even though they're wearing a different jersey and this and that. Like they're the Redcliffe Dolphins. I
yeah, they
reckon
are.
within a couple years it'll get changed.
Yeah, I think so. Was there a while where I might be mistaken, maybe 10 years ago, where the Bulldogs weren't called Canterbury Bankstown when they were just the Bulldogs? Or am I imagining that?
I can't confirm nor deny. I have to do a little bit of research. But one thing that did happen though in the AFL was that the Port Adelaide Power got their name changed to just the Power, and it lasted like a season. Everyone was like, "Yuck." Which it's a
Yeah.
bit different because that was a club that was already identified. But I just think like one of the things, the best things about sport is the tribalism aspect, and it's me versus you. It's like us versus them. Like they're like fibre silvertails, stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like
I
dragons,
live here and
sharks.
you live 20 Ks away, so I hate you. That's what it is.
And we'll wind it back to a group seven. Gerringong
Mhm.
versus Kiama. They're like two closest towns to it. Well, probably not in the comp, but like they're 5 minutes up the road, and it's
Yeah.
we hate you. Like especially in under 18s, like we're playing. Like most of the boys went to school with each other, friends all week, and then you get there and it's like I hate that bloke.
Well, it's like Warilla and Shell Harbour.
Yeah,
It's they are literally like you don't even realize when you go from Warilla into Shell Harbour. But it's just and they hate each other as well.
mm. It's like it's one of the main aspects of sport, and it's like probably one of like it just goes back to human nature of like as I said, like that tribalism aspect. And it's one of the only like ways you can get it these days. So get the Dolphins, they're Redcliffe.
Yeah, 100%. That is the only tribalism that's allowed anymore.
And then we'll get on to another team that's actually had about 3 billion name changes in life because they were once upon a time the Auckland Warriors, and now the New Zealand Warriors, and then like whatever. The
Had
Wild's
one
are
name
on
change.
fire.
Yeah, no, they're doing very well. They've had one name change from Auckland to New Zealand, so I don't know what you're going on about having
Well,
lots
they're
of
going to
names.
be the Aotearoa Warriors soon.
Are they?
Well, I actually reckon this is a rugby league podcast, by the way. I actually think New Zealand will end up changing their name to back to their indigenous name
Maybe
in the not too distant future.
maybe they'll change it from not maybe they'll call it Aotearoa New Zealand because I feel like Aotearoa is a thing that we know what it means in Australia and New Zealand, but other countries don't know really what it means.
Then they can learn.
I guess
It's the indigenous name for the
Turkey changed its name to Turkey.
yeah, true.
Macedonia just changed its name to North Macedonia.
Exactly. Like it's something that like if you don't know, learn. If you want to go visit
Probably
Aotearoa,
used to be called Rhodesia.
used to be called
Do you
what?
know that? Rhodesia. Now it's called Zimbabwe.
True. There you go. I didn't know that. There's a bit of knowledge for you. Take that into your next geography
Another,
lesson,
another one,
kids.
Sri Lanka used to be called Ceylon.
Yeah, okay.
So if I think of other ones, I've blurred them out at random times during the podcast.
Again, rugby league podcast. Tohu Harris has been probably one of the unsung heroes of the NRL this season. I think he's like probably again. I think I mentioned it last week, maybe, but he's one of the unsung heroes of the last couple of years. I think it's because he plays for New Zealand, and the Australian media just don't really seem to give like two rats about him. But honestly, I'm going to give him his flowers right now. Tohu Harris has been amazing.
Very good, very good, very good player, and he hasn't lost much since leaving the Storms.
Which you definitely can't say about a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people leave the Storms and really go downhill, but Toru Harris has just maintained and stayed at that level that he was at when he was at the Melbourne Storms.
And what I loved, I didn't actually get to watch the game live, but watch some highlights and that sort of thing. And because people were telling, like, messaging me going, SJ's on fire, and the old SJ was back, and I loved it. It's just stepping around, playing like his fluent best. I think Andrew Webster, like he's come from that Penrith system, and he was the coach I had question marks on about like, oh look, he's come from that good system, but there hasn't really been that much said about him. We've seen Trent Barrett come from that system again, and like not really like flourish as you might have hoped. But I think he's relishing the opportunity to become a first time NRL head coach. He's just letting the boys just go about their business, have a bit of fun.
Do you think it helps a lot this year with them being back in New Zealand full time?
Oh, of course.
So many of those blokes being native Kiwis. Do you reckon that's adding a lot to them?
Oh, absolutely. I think like having that base, and especially when teams come to them, like I think the Bulldogs go over there this week, and it's like, right, they're on our turf now. Like we live, breathe New Zealand. Let's like give them some. And like as well, have it like they've always had it, having that underdog mentality and playing up to it a bit as well. So all right, let's
Mhm.
go. Let's go to the Cowboys. Like, let's go play them up in Townsville where no one gives us a chance, and let's go show them what we're made of. Like, I think that dog mentality.
Yeah, you love to see it. And I love to see when teams that have such a strong fan base have like an aura around their home ground. Like Newmares, if they knew they had to go up and play the Knights at Hunter Stadium or, whatever it was called at the time or whatever. And I'm thinking that this year it's going to really be like that for teams going over to Mount Smart Stadium. It's that nightmare, I'll get on a plane and it's a different time zone.
Mm.
And, we'll just throw them
Just
all
head
out.
noise.
Those Warriors boys are drive off it. They'll get there and the fans, they'll have 10,000 New Zealanders or 20,000 New Zealanders screaming, baying for their blood. And they'll just be out there going, oh, geez, what have we got into?
It's funny though as a neutral because Warriors probably traditionally been maybe my second team. I'd say like I always enjoy watching the Warriors play because they just had like sort of flair and like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Kevin Locke, Sean Johnson in his prime, like those kind of guys that just create something out of nothing. So they're exactly Stacey Jones, but it's like so the Warriors are going good this year. The Dolphins are just unbelievable and should be everyone's second favorite team.
Fins up.
Fins up. My old man goes for Manly, so I grew up watching them. I've got like 3 seconds. I don't know what to do with myself. It's too much football to watch, and then the Dragons just suck. So
At least it's second teams, isn't it? I'm enjoying watching the Dolphins when they're not playing against the Knights because gives me something to cheer for.
yeah, it's like I swear I'm enjoying watching other teams more than my own, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh, mate, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, unfortunately. But it was like speaking of the Warriors getting a unprecedented W over the Cowboys. I just wanted to touch on a very interesting stat. So we said that this year's probably been the most even, and like we don't know who the hell's going to win. Like you're dead set, whoever rocks up on game day, you got no idea who's going to get the W. Out of the 24 games that have been played this season, 12 of the teams have been paying more with the bookies, so technically the underdogs have come away with a win. I don't know if that's a stat that's ever been there before. I'd have to get random stats going to that one, but like it's ridiculous.
It is so good, eh? This is the most even season we've seen. Which I think last year the season started really even too. Did it? Or
I don't think it was this close. I don't like even
it wasn't this close.
But even like in terms of margins, this is the closest it's ever been. I think before this round there was only three teams that had won 13 plus. There was a few on the weekend. It was like the average winning margin before this round was 8.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Like, who would against the Titans would beat the Storm?
A fair few people actually talking to me. I was like, you know what? Fair play. I thought Storm were going to pump them, especially after they lost to the Dragons. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so good for rugby league.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome for the game. Awesome for the fans. People want to watch games more, which is, more money in the pockets of the NRL, which means they can invest further into the game, which will, better players, even closer games, more people watch. It just rolls on and on and on and on and on, snowball effect. And you know what I mean? I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say in 5 years, rugby league could overtake soccer as the biggest international sport in the world, bigger than soccer, cricket. I think rugby league in the next, 3 to 5 years can do that.
In 5 years' time.
If you're listening, you can't see the face I'm making right now.
Yeah, that face says it all. He's talking some schmack.
Right, my sphincter.
Right, Mario Ross medal time. Obviously the players absolutely go out every single week wanting to get the 3 points for our podcast player of the season. We will go through. So Manly versus Eels, I believe I was the voter for that. I had 3 points going to Joshua Schuster. I thought he was quite impressive. Put on 3 try assists maybe in his return game. And pretty much, I don't know, I wouldn't say carried Manly's attack, but he looked pretty good. Number 2, going to give Tommy Turbo. Obviously, I think he scored 2 tries, set one up, or other way around. Look, he's always good for a big game at Brookie. And then one I gave to Olakawatu. And while like he didn't actually do too much apart from his tries, at the end of the day, his tries are one of the main reasons why Manly got the win. So I think he played a crucial role in their game there. So Knights Fins up. We will go over to you, Rostog.
Okay, so for the Knights Fins up game, we've given 3 points to Tessinyu for scoring 3 tries and a hat trick. Do you have these written down? Because I do not have them written down in front of me.
I do have them written down.
Okay. Now, this is I picked this, but he's written it down. So I might let Tyson read these ones out because I can't remember what I picked.
So at number 2, we had Tom Gilbert. It was quite impressive for them. He actually collected all 6 Dalian points. And then number 1, we gave Dane gave one of his Knights players a point. Lockie Miller probably had the best game he's had in Knights colours so far. It was quite impressive.
Smokey for Origin.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Roosters versus Rabbitohs. 3 points went to James Tedesco. I mean, like, it's just one of those games that Teddy just, like, worked up to play ball in. 2 points I gave to Brandon Smith after I said that the Roosters shouldn't have signed him. And I wasn't saying that he was a bad player. I was just saying that it didn't fit the system, which probably come back to bite me because Roosters probably play a new system. How's this? I sort of bagged out 2 players during the week, Brandon Smith and Luke Brooks, and they both came out and played absolutely baller. So maybe I should start doing that for the Dragons players. Just start ripping on them and they'll go out and play good. 1 point I gave to...
I bet you Newcastle player players.
Well, look, everyone just knows their shit, so there's no point bagging them out. 1 point went to Jackson Paulo against his old club. He scored 2 tries, ran for like 200 meters, and made no errors, which I was like, that's the best stuff I've seen in a long while. Then it was over to the Titans versus the Storm, one of the crazy games I've watched in my life. 72 points. The Storm scored 34 points and still lost. Like,
Insanity.
Dano decided to give 3 points to Tino Sumalawi. I mean, like, it's one of those ones. He's one of those players that if the Titans play good, Tino plays good. So 3 points well deserved there. 2 points went to AJ Brimson. 1 point went to Harry Grant, who later on 3 try assists for the Storms. And then we went to Cowboys versus the Warriors. And in a big upset, Warriors players got all 6 points there. They were shared between Tohu Harris got 3 points. As we sort of talked about before, how good he's been. SJ had his best game in Warriors colours since he's been back there. He got 2, and Wade Egan got 1. Unfortunately, his game was ended early because Jason Tamalolo he's just made it of rock. And then it was to the Broncos versus the Dragons. Less about this game, the better. Fuck the Broncos. So 3 points went to Payne Haas. In his first hit, he was amazing, but when he came on in the second half, he basically just won Broncos the game single-handedly. Off the back of him and Reece Walsh, who got 2 points, and then Adam Reynolds got the whack one for me. Again, just a general, leading that ship around. Broncos look scary this year. Dogs versus the Tigers. It was at Belmore. Dogs got the win. Jacob Keraz ran for nearly 300 meters, got 2 tries. He got 3 points. Paul Alamotti had his best game in the NRL so far. He got 2 points, and Matt Burton got the 1. And the Raiders versus the Sharks, upset. I don't know if you can really call it that when they were playing at home, but they got the win. 3 points I gave to Matt Timoko. I actually thought he was outstanding, and he's been playing really good so far this season. 2 points to Joseph Tarpanay, and 1 point to the big redhead, Corey Horsburgh, getting the double meaties.
I got worried then. I thought you were going to leave big Corey Horsburgh out of it. I was about to say, no way you're leaving Red out of these points. Big Red. Go, son. The Big Red machine. They should start calling him Kane. You remember WWE?
Oh, yeah. Kane, I reckon that's his nickname now for our podcast. We're calling him Kane.
Love it.
So now we'll get on to our quick little preview for round 4. And honestly, if you take any of our advice, good luck, because no one can predict, no one actually knows anything about rugby league, can predict the results at the moment. So,
some people can, just not us.
Yeah, well, I think everyone is sick of listening to me talk. So let's go. The 0-3 Eels take on the Panthers off the bye. What do you reckon?
Panthers.
Explain.
Eels.
Elaborate.
Panthers, good. Eels, not good. Eels, not win 3 games. Panthers, win last game, win good. Panthers, beat Eels.
I believe that Ryan Madison is back for the Eels, which will definitely help because I think their back row is letting them down. Their edge defense in general, but...
You think they're missing Isaiah Papali'i?
Oh, of course. As much as... So I think Matt Dory has been an okay fill-in. He's averaging 88 meters a game, and Papali'i was averaging well over 100 and was averaging more tackles. Just the work rate they're missing. I think, and I suppose Jermaine Hopgood taking up some of that slack, but... Not really. Nathan Brown barely played last year. Friday, 6 p.m. This was like talking about how good and close the comp has been so far. This could be a bit of a blood slaughtering. So I believe Cameron Munster will be back. Storm versus Tigers.
Uh, it'll be real bad. Children, avert your eyes because this is going to be an assault. This is going to the Storms are going to do things to them that I can't say on this podcast because of God listening, and I can't say what they're going to do to them. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a bloodbath. Bad.
I 100% agree. It's in Amy Park as well. And Friday Arvos, Amy Park. I don't think the Storm will lose ever down there. Then game of the round, top of the table clash, Dolphins versus the Broncos. You've already said you're going to take the Dolphins. Fins up.
Fins up.
I believe the Fins will be down this week.
No, Fins will be up and stay up.
So here's our first disagreement. I think the Broncos win there.
No, I got a big stiff fin, and it's not going down until I get satisfied.
I suppose, right?
Dolphins
first half of the last week's game for the Broncos, Dragons didn't actually play that good, and they went into halftime up. And I don't see the Dolphins slipping away in the last 10 minutes like the Dragons did. So, look, Dolphins are definitely a chance.
Yep, I've got a raging hard fin, and it's staying hard.
I also don't think that the Broncos will want to lose an away game in their home of Suncorp. So,
probably. I'm keen to see. I'm keen to see the fans there. How many fans are there for the Broncos? And
they'll all have their fin. They'll all have their fin.
I hope so. Get those hard fins up and get them hard.
If anyone has 2 fins spare, they have, reach out in the DMs because myself and the Ross Dog would like to take them off you for little or no cost, apart from just being a good bloke.
I'll pay. If anyone's got them, I will sign a check. You write whatever number you want on there, and I'll give it to you.
You heard it.
Fins.
You heard it here. Okay, let's get some.
You can wear them on your head, eh?
Yeah, if we get them, we'll wear them the next podcast.
I will wear it every podcast for the rest of the year.
Okay, we need some fins. Listeners, reach out. So then, next game is Cowboys versus Titans, and this is one that I've like the form going into it. Who the hell knows what's going to happen there? It's in Townsville, but that didn't mean anything last week, and the Titans got a big win over the Storm. They'd be confident. Who wins?
Part of me thinks the Cowboys won't lose 2 at home at North Queensland. You know what I mean? They're going to be, they're going to be dirty. They're going to just come out there just mean and angry and just get everything right and win. But another part of me thinks the Titans will come up there full of confidence, which, I think they're a real confidence team. When they're confident, they play well. And the Cowboys might feel a little bit defeated. I'm gonna just tip the Titans, but honestly, I'm gonna tip the Titans.
I think I'm going to the Cowboys. I reckon, as you said, that they'll be hungry to go out there and prove everyone that they're still a top 4 quality side. And I reckon the Titans might have a bit of hangover from getting so up for the Storm game. So, but we'll see. It's so hard to read form at the moment. The next game of the round is another very going to hopefully be closely contested. It is the Rabbits versus Manly. So I think this one's at Allianz Stadium. Manly, they look pretty good, but they haven't really. I suppose Para is a good side, but they haven't really faced too much of a test. I don't know. That's probably a little bit disrespectful. But how do you see this one playing out?
Well, as Ryan Girdler said, Manly are a bunch of flat track bullies and cannot beat anyone, who has half a football brain. But I'm tipping Manly in this one. I think Manly get the win over South.
I got a feeling South bounce back, so I'm going to take them, giving Manly their first L of the year. Now, this is an interesting game to have on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. But the Wars over in New Zealand take on the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
What a shit game for a Saturday night at 7:30.
That's what I'm thinking. It'd probably be close, but the quality of football, considering that the game before it's Rabbitohs Manly.
Hey, that is game one on a Sunday quality. That is
the worst time slot getting around quality. So do you reckon the Warriors back up a big performance last week and get the win over in New Zealand, or do you think the Doggies, now they got some runs on the board against the Tigers, can back? That's because they've won 2 in a row now, so they're feeling confident too. How do you reckon this one plays out?
I'm tipping Tars. I don't know, I got a funny feeling about them. I think they'll win.
I agree. Was up. Then your
What's
my
up?
oh my god.
Oh, because I can. I can say whatever I want on this podcast. Literally, who's going to stop me? I can say what I want.
Oh,
You can cut it out, but I'm still going to say it.
that has sent me. That was good. The Knights take on the Raiders at McDonald Jones Stadium. Knights off a disappointing loss against the Phins Up, and the Raiders off a good win against the who do they play? Sharks. So I think the Raiders are buoyed by that effort and go up against a very depleted Knights side and get a quite dominant victory, I will say. Unfortunately, to say that to you, Dane, but I don't see the Knights doing much without half their first grade team.
Yeah. I don't know. Who cares? We don't really have to talk about it. But yeah, no.
That means he agrees. Raiders going to win.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Sorry,
and then that takes us to the game of the round. Sunday, 6 p.m., Kogarah Stadium. The Mighty Dragons take on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. Nico Hines reportedly back. Sharks, disappointing loss last weekend. Dragons, full of confidence after conceding 30 points in the last 10 minutes. I think they might be conceding 30 more points this game. Dragons 13 plus.
No, be serious. I think the Sharks, buoyed by the returning wet hair and
cramp. Oh, fuck.
As I was saying, the returning wet hair and sexiness of Nico Hines just propels the Sharks into a victory against the rudderless, hopeless, pathetic, terrible Dragons.
Okay, I'm going to give you a multi for Sharks Dragons game. Will Kennedy, anytime try scorer.
Yep.
Ronaldo Mulatalo, anytime try scorer.
Right.
And I'm going to put a little bit of Dragons flavour in there. I think he's full of confidence at the moment, playing good footy. Tyrell Sloan, anytime try scorer. That's my multi. Okay, and to give you some credentials, I got Reece Walsh 2+, Selwyn Cobbo, and Matt Fine anytime try scorers last week. Multi-playing $28. So look, I know my stuff.
Nice.
And obviously the Chookies get the Chookies cocks up get the bye this week.
Oh, that's funny. You can't say cocks up.
I'm just talking about the male chicken. That's what they call it.
A cock, a rooster. Righto. Yeah. I'm sure they'll all get their cocks up this weekend. Up someone at the back of the Coogee pad.
All
right.
That will do us for another week of the Trademark Sports Podcast. I'm so sorry.
Thank God that's over. What a fucking train wreck of a podcast that was. Sorry to all the listeners if you've sat through however long this has gone for. I'm sure it's
too many minutes. Too many minutes.
I apologize. If you've listened to the whole thing, go and get some help. Speak to a teacher, priest, family member.
All of the above.
All of the above. Speak to someone because obviously you've got issues if you've sat through and listened to this whole thing.
But if you made it this far, leave a cocks up in the comments. Let's go. Cocks up, baby.